Hi guys, so I think we should be live now. We'll just leave it a minute or two, let people get into it. So just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Okay guys, so we'll get started now in a moment, and we'll let more people drift in if they're there. So what we're going to be looking at today is kind of the same format that we had for the last couple of sessions. When I'm planning training, what I like to do is plan for 3 weeks. So we more or less the same style of class 3 weeks in a row, and then we can kind of evolve it a small bit next week. So we're going to start off with some movement, some striking, a little bit of body movement, some strength work later, and some shadow fighting, build up to 7 rounds. So what we're going to start off with, guys, is our marching. So we're going to look at a lot of crawling today for a warm-up. So marching is a part of the crawling, okay? It's the same idea. So just bear with us for a moment, and when we get down to the crawling in a couple of minutes, it'll make sense. So guys, you just come to a standing position, just start the body tall. And all I want to do is take one arm up, 90-degree angle, one arm back. Just start with switching the arms here. So think like a sprinter. Okay, and what we want to just turn to an angle here. There is no movement from the torso, there's no movement from the hips, from the legs, it's just the arms moving. Just starting here. People are tuning in just now or wondering what's going on. Okay, we're going to be working a little bit on crawling. So we'll start just with the arm movements. So it's not dropping the arms down, you're actively pulling that elbow back. So take one hand forward, take the other hand back, don't let the body move. From here, left arm, right leg, right arm, left leg. So we lift, and we're working here. Just on the spot, just marching, keep your body tall, and that cross body pattern. The right arm works with the left leg, the left arm works with the right leg. So if I turn to the side, again, the idea is pulling the elbow back. Good. So what we want is that we're keeping that heel flat on the ground. We're not letting that heel lift when the other knee raises. When you lift this leg up, there's an equal and opposite reaction of the body. It pulls the body forward. So what we want to avoid is this. Keep your body tall, lift your knee. And the same as the shoulders are moving, there's no movement from the body. Just continue a little bit more. So body tall. Lift the knee as high as you can. Keep the leg on the ground straight. And your torso doesn't move. So from your hips to your shoulders, there's no movement. Just a little bit of marching on the spot. So for the people just joining us, we're working a little bit on crawling today, okay? And we're just going to start in this position because in a way it's a little bit easier because gravity isn't such a big factor. So this is kind of weird. Now I'm coming into your living room every week and now I have you marching. So we'll be ready for the parade next year. Okay, so guys, we'll take that to a grounded position, okay? So we'll go to that 6-point position we had last week. If you put your feet shoulder distance, knee shoulder distance, and your hand shoulder distance, okay? So we call it 6 points. Your 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 knees are on the ground. And what I want to do is lift one leg, and just the opposite hand touch your shoulder, and switch. So try keep the same idea we had when we were marching, that when one arm and one leg moves, the body position doesn't change. You don't lean, you don't fold. You just lift one arm, one leg, and we just hold. From here, we're going to crawl forward 4 or 5 steps, forward 4 or 5 steps back. Okay, let's go. And the same idea, opposite hand, opposite leg working together. And no movement from the torso. So if you make your step too big, your hips start to turn. We want to avoid that. And guys, when we get back this time, just hold on. We'll just stay in our 6-point position. Okay, what I want from here now is go to a 4-point position. So we're going to lift our knees. Think like a centimeter off the ground, so not too high. You want hips over your knees, shoulders over your wrists. And then we're going to go back to that lift that we had a second ago. So lift one hand, lift the opposite leg, then switch. Just small lifts. And what you'll find is as you're lifting your arm and leg, your body's having to work reflexively to stop you losing your balance. So gravity now is acting on you a little bit more. It's kind of the same idea as marching, trying to keep the body neutral, one arm and one leg moving, but not letting gravity take you to the ground. Now keep that position. Again, 5 steps forward, 5 steps back, keep the knees off the ground. Let's go. So don't let your hips turn, keep your knees up. And just rest. So you can see like even that 30 seconds or a minute, crawling is it's a good workout, you can feel it. What we'll do now is go back for a 6-point position, just as a little bit of active rest, just rocking. So this is where I think we started the last couple of weeks with our sessions, just pushing your bum back over your heels, bringing some weight over your wrists. Good. Now from here, bring our feet together. I'll just turn to a little bit of an angle so you can see. So you're in step, top of your feet are on the ground, your hands are on the ground. You're going to bend your feet, move your hands, you're going to come forward. So a little bit kind of like a snail. Move your hands, moving backwards, roll over your toes. So you're straightening your ankle, working your ankle in extension. You're flexing your ankles, flexing your toes. So go forward again. So you move your hands, you flex your ankles, you lift, come forward till your instep is on the ground. We go again. If you find this kind of painful on the toes or on the ankles, just put more weight on your hands. The same going back. So move your hands over your toes, we rock back. Good. Now, going back to our 4-point position this time, straighten your knees. And what I want you to do is think of working your feet like pedals. So straighten one knee, then the other. On the knees, straighten. Think of pushing that heel back towards the ground. So you have a bit of a stretch in the calf. You're working the toes on the knee that's bending on that side. And from here, let's go to a crawl. So again, opposite hand, opposite leg, knees are locked out. Maybe 5 steps forward, 5 steps back. What you can do, guys, is push your heel towards the ground. But if your heel isn't getting to the ground, it's not a big deal. Good. Let me just rest for a moment. So we'll go to a 4-point position again. This time we're just going to widen our feet. So it's more like a press-up position. Try the straight line now from your shoulder back to your ankle. Maybe put your feet about double shoulder width. Have your knees locked out. We're just going to take one arm to the side. We come back in and switch arms. So think as you're switching, this is what gravity wants to do to your body, and you're resisting that. So even though you're not moving, you're still getting a good kind of workout with this drill. So you don't need to take your hand to the roof. Just make a straight line from one shoulder to the opposite hand. Good, and we rest. So where we're going to go now, guys, is what we call a Spider-Man walk, or Spider-Man crawl, or a dragon walk. So always need to think left hand, right leg, right hand, left leg. working that X, that cross body pattern. So starting in a crawl, you're going to move this foot beside your hand and the opposite hand forward and drop your hips to the ground. You switch. And moving back. So I know there's probably some people looking on what the hell, but it's kind of a hard one to explain. But if you just think that cross body, bring your knee beside your elbow, drop your hips to the ground. So really what you're doing here, you're kind of sneaking an extra press up into every drill, every step. Drop your hip down, push back up. So just go one more round because some people might have missed the first round while they were looking to see what they needed to do. We don't want anybody missing out. Good. So we'll go back to our stomach, a little bit more, we'll call it active rest. We're going to go with our worm going forward. That kind of dance move that people do, we'll do like a very small version of that. This is one of my favorite drills for working press-ups because you're working right down at the hardest part of the press-up where your elbows are bent. Think like giving the bench press, like pushing that weight off your chest. So come to your stomach, put your feet together. You're going to flex your ankles like you've done in the snail. You're going to move your hands forward. You're going to lift your whole body up. So again, maybe 3, 4, 5 steps forwards, depending on what room you have, how tall you are. And then the same going back. I'll do one more round forward. So you probably feel it on the triceps, the backs of the arms. Make sure it doesn't turn into a slug. You're still lifting yourself up. And we come back. And we'll come up. Okay, so we're going to go back to our 4-point position. Hips over the knees, shoulders over the wrists. Eyes are forward, you've got that neutral spine. You're going to take one hand forward and the opposite leg back. So you extend, push your heel back to the wall behind you, push your fingertips out in front, and then we switch. So again, gravity is acting on you here. When you lift up, gravity wants to take you to the ground. And you're having to use your strength reflectively. So your body's having to adjust to the limbs moving up and down off the ground and not lose its posture. So that's what core strength is about really. It's about being able to maintain a neutral spine. Let's go 2 on the same side. We lift up, right arm and right leg now. Switch. Good, and we relax. So, guys, we're going to work into our striking now. Okay, so we're going to look at the same striking drills we done last week, with the body moving off the line, coming back in, rolling under. Later on for our shadow boxing, we're moving to 7 rounds. So we're going to work for a couple of weeks, increasing the amount of rounds, so we get to maybe 9, 10 rounds at 30 seconds. Then we'll drop back to 5 rounds, but we'll up the length of the rounds. So when you get to your shadow fighting later, work your normal drills, but try to include some of the ones we do today. So working off the backhand into the hook, avoiding coming back to the hook and into the backhand. So as you're working through them now, try to memorize them. So later on, they're there when you want them for your shadow fighting. Okay, so guys, we're coming up to our fighting stance. Okay, I'm just going to switch legs. So most people will put their left in front. It's up to you which way you work. Okay, body weight is leaning to the front leg, back heel is raised, and we squat, we crunch a little bit. So our hands are up in front. Elbows out in front of the body, not too close, and arms not too wide. So we're going to start off just with our hook. So we're going to go with our left hand. We're going to get that hook. So you guys are going to continuously punch. Okay, I'll stop, and I'm going to give some pointers. Let's go. So keep going, guys. So as you're going, what we want to make sure is the elbows behind the knuckles. Your hand is going to be hitting at 45 degrees. So not too much sideways, not too much with your pinky down. just a natural position. Make sure the hip is turning through, and after you punch, pull that elbow back. So the recoil of the body and the recoil of the hand. Now from here, hook, boom, into your backhand. So that hip is turning. If I leave the arms out, it looks like 1, boom, 2. Let's go. Left, right, front hand, backhand. Keep going, guys. That's it. Make sure you're getting the body through that backhand, get the hip through, and then pull back. So when I'm coaching this, most of the time, I'm looking at your feet. I'm looking to see your body position. If the footwork is good, it flows up the chain. Good. And we're ready. Now, what we're going to do from there, we're going to look at avoiding. So on your hook, your backhand, as this punch lands, as you start to recoil, you imagine that the attacker is trying to punch off their front hand. So you want to move out of the way here. So my chin is on the center line. I'm getting my chin off the center line. The punch is going to go to the area of the shoulder. So 1, 2, avoid. Let's go. Now this time, 1, 2, avoid, boom, straight back. So you're going to do the same punch twice in a row. 1, 2, this punch is going to come again. So hook, backhand, avoid, backhand. Use that spring, avoid, and straight back in. Let's go. And then from there to finish off the drill, 1, 2, avoid, backhand, hook. So it's going to mirror. Front hook, backhand, avoid, backhand, front hook. 1, 2, avoid, 1, 2. Let's go. Good. Take a little breather. So next drill, we're going to reverse it. We're going to switch to starting off our backhand. So we'll start off from here, backhand, front hook together. Ready? Hands up. Let's go. Keep going, guys. Don't stop. Just when you're moving, make sure you're recoiling straight back. Sometimes we see a recoil in circular motion. This way, make sure the hand is recoiling back. Good, and relax. From here, 1, 2. All right, backhand, front hook. This time you're going to imagine the opponent is trying to punch off their backhand. So as that punch comes off the backhand, you're going to slip this way, get your chin off the line, give them your front shoulder. So backhand, front hook, avoid. You're going to be sticking your back shoulder forward. Ready? Let's go. Good. Now, 1, 2, you avoid, 1, and you almost spring back into that hook. So 1, 2, think elastically. You move 1, your body kind of springs back from this position, and you're developing a lot of power into that hook. So backhand, front hook, back shoulder, front hook. Let's go. Good. And to finish off the drill, 1, 2, back shoulder, front hook, backhand. So again, it's mirroring, but in the opposite way than we've done earlier. Backhand, front hook, avoid, front hook, backhand. Let's go. Hands up, go. breather. From here, guys, what we're going to do is put both of them together. So it's going to keep rolling, rolling, rolling. You'll see there that the last two of the first drill were the first two of the second drill. So we'll start slowly. Like I said last week, it is kind of switch your brain off. Just let it flow. So let's start. Backhand, front hook, back shoulder, front hook, backhand, front shoulder, backhand, front hook, backhand, backhand, front hook, backhand. You can see the different body defense, moving to the side, moving the opposite side. So keep going with that, guys. As you get more comfortable, start to ramp up the speed, start to ramp up the aggression. Let's go. And we take a breather. Okay, so we'll take a water break in a moment. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the pad drill we done last week. So I'm going to hold the pad for you guys. I'm going to call numbers. Now, I got a few comments after this last week saying I was too fast. So when you're holding the pads, it's very easy to be like 1, 3, 2, 4. I'll give a little bit more time this week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my left in front. You guys are going to mirror me. They're going to be on backhand will be 1. 3 will be backhand, front hook, backhand. And 5, as we know, backhand, front hook, backhand, front hook, backhand. So you're always starting and finishing with that straight off the backhand. Okay, backhand straight, front hook. 1, 3, or 5 will be here. Okay, I'll move a little bit. If you have space at home to move, move. If I go forward, you go back. If I go back, you go forward. Keep your hands high, keep a good stance. Let's go. 1, 3, 3, 1. Keep your stance, keep the weight, keep length. 5, 3. So really go for it now with this guy. 1, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 1, 5. Good. So that looks a little bit unusual when you've nobody hit the pads, but I hope you got that drill. Guys, what we'll do is take a quick water break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to get into our strength work. We're going to get into a little bit of strength work, a little bit of work for our midsection, for our abs, something that we haven't done before, and then we'll do our shadow fighting after that. So enjoy your water. Okay, so guys, we'll come back in. So we're going to work through our planks, we're going to work through our press ups, we're going to work through our pelvic tilts, our ab work, our squats, and our bat wing. So we'll start off with the plank. Okay, so we're going to do the same plank we done last week. Let's move back so you can see me. So we're going forearms on the ground, and what we're going to do is start straight line from shoulder back to ankle, trying to keep that neutral spine, keep the shoulders pulled down. You're going to start off lifting one heel as high as possible. We'll go for 20 seconds. You'll lower down. You won't come out of the plank. You'll lift the other heel as high as possible for 20 seconds without changing the body position. Keep your toes down. And then for the last minute, 2 heels will be down and you just hold the plank position. Okay, so ready? Forearms on the ground. I'll look at my clock. Ready? Let's go. So lift one heel. So without letting your hips move, keep that heel as high as possible. Knees straight. I hope your laptop doesn't freeze at this stage. Be stuck like this for a while. And we'll switch legs. So straight away, no pause, no rest. Lift that heel as high as possible. And from there, go to 2 feet. Again, no rest. How long did I say? A minute like this, was it? Keep the shoulders down. And relax. Good. Just come up tall, take our hands to the side. Make our S's, don't let our chin come forward. And try to breathe through your nose. Okay, so guys, we'll go to our press-ups. We're going to keep the same format as the last couple of weeks. We're just going to add 4 press-ups. So this week you have to do 24 press-ups, whatever format you want. Blast straight through 24 if you like. 2 sets of 12, 3 sets of 8, 4 sets of 6, 6 sets of 4. Okay, 12 sets of 2, or 24 individual press-ups. What we're looking to see is 24 good press-ups, not 5 good ones and then 19 ropey ones. So if you imagine that you videoed your training and you clipped out all the rest periods you take, you would see 24 identical press-ups. So the different ways we can vary it: hands can be shoulder width, hands can be together, a diamond under your chest. If you're struggling with press-ups, only go halfway. If you want to elevate your hands and do your press-ups off the side of the couch, you can. Or if you want to make it tougher, elevate your feet, put your feet in the wall or on the couch and have a kind of forward body angle. So I'll stop talking now and we'll get into our 24 press-ups. Let's go. Okay, so guys, what we'll do is we'll go to our pelvic tilt. So last week we done the single leg deadlifts as our hip hinge exercise. This week we're going back to our pelvic tilt. So you're going to the ground, put our feet close together. Okay, this is comfortable. Have your palms facing up. You're going to raise your hips as high as possible. And when you raise your hips, clench your glutes. So basically squeeze your butt as tight as possible at the top of the lift. And we'll go for 18. Let's go. Okay, so guys, when we're working on our strength work, we basically look at 5 or 6 different movements. We look at presses, so that's our press up, our kettlebell press, our bench press. We look at hip hinge, which is our kettlebell swing or deadlift with a barbell, or we've just done our pelvic tilt. We look at our squat, which we'll do in a couple of minutes. We look at pulls as well, okay? And then we look at what we call everything else. So like our Turkish get-ups, and we're crawling or rolling, okay? We kind of lump everything in as one. What we don't usually work on is like sit-ups, or we don't work on crunches. I'm not a big fan of crunches or sit-ups. I think a lot of times people end up with problems with their neck, and they're not really, using it for any particular reason. It's just something that's been in the fitness classes for a long time. Like everything you use, you should have a reason why it's in your class. But midsection ab strength is very important. Okay, so we're going to look at one kind of sit-up variation that we like. So you'll put your feet about shoulder distance or so. You're going to sit up tall. Okay, and what you're going to do, sniff the air into your nose, and then you're going to hiss the air out. As you hiss the air out, you're going to go tighter, 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 tighter with your abs, as tight as possible. When you've hissed all the air out, you keep that position, you hold your breath, and you're going to lower your body to the ground like this. Okay? It looks very easy. Okay? So keep your body tall, breathe into your nose. I can't really talk when I'm doing this, so we'll just try to get set up and go. Ready? Let's go. We sit up, we'll go again, so body tall, sniff some air in. Do another one, so point our feet to the ground, body tall. Good, and just rest for a moment. So we're going to do 3 sets of 3. So when you breathe in, and you start to exhale, it's like a hiss. You're shooting some air out of your mouth. Every time you do it, contract tighter, tighter, tighter in your midsection here. Keep that tension as you sit back. You should feel more effective, that tension, as the angle of the body changes. Okay, let's go again. So feet to the ground, hands in front this time. Breathe through your nose. Come up. Again. And one more. We sit up. So you should feel that here, and you should feel it tomorrow. Okay, as I say, ab strength, strength in midsection is very important for overall body strength. Pavel Satsaline, the chief instructor in Strong First, when people ask him what's the quickest thing to work on to improve their overall strength, because abs and grip. Okay, and obviously we're working ab strength, we're working grip strength. We swing a kettlebell, we do pull-ups, and do some of the other movements we do, but it's just something specifically looking at the midsection. So let's go for one more set. Body tall. Come up. Big breath. And one more. And relax. Okay, so guys, we'll go now onto our squats and our bat wings. So I think it was Joe said last week, you felt the bat wings the next day. Okay, I did as well for about 2 or 3 days. So it's not something that we work on too much. It's a pull. It's the idea of grabbing a weight and pulling it in. It's harder to work this in a gym or in a class setting because you don't have equipment to work with. Press ups and sit ups and stuff like this you can do with no equipment. This usually needs a bit of equipment. But this drill, we only need our wall. So let's go for squats. We've been doing 3 sets of 8. Let's go for 3 sets of 10. So I'll just adjust you guys up here so you can see me. Ready, body tall, 3 jumps. Wherever your feet land, that's your squat position. Hands up, let's go for 10. and relax. We'll go to our wall for our battering. So like we've been saying the last couple of weeks, feet a little distance from the wall, shrug your shoulders, then do the opposite. So shoulders down, big chest, elbows in tight to the body. At the moment, I have an angle on my hips, so it's not a straight line from my shoulder to my ankle. When I start to move, I want that to be a straight line. Go into your heels, and you want to try to get your thumbs right into your armpits. So push yourself off the wall as far as you can for 10 seconds. Ready? Let's go. Good, and relax. Come back in, our next set of 10 squats. Ready? Let's go. Good. We're back to the wall. Guys, really focus, pulling those elbows back. There's a big difference between getting to here and getting to there. Okay, the thumbs right into the armpits. Let's go. 10 seconds, ready? And go. And we rest. We'll come back in. We'll do our last set of squats. I just want to show you a variation. It's up to you. You can stick with your normal squats, feet shoulder distance, or if you like, you can move your feet together. Just don't let your toes turn out. Don't let your heels raise up. Sit your butt back towards the ground. Let's go for 10. Good. So head back to the wall. One more set of battlings. So on the ankles, shoulders tight. Let's go. Good. And we relax. So guys, that's our strength work for the session. What we'll do now is grab a quick sip of water. We'll come back in. If you want to put your boxing gloves on, you can. We're going for 7 rounds of 30 seconds with our shadow fighting. Okay, so quick water break. Okay, so guys, like we said, we're going to do 7 rounds, 30 seconds, okay? I like our training to be scalable. So sometimes when people are training, it's just random acts of variety. It's stuff that's thrown together. What we try to do in the club is kind of pick a topic, as you say, work it over 2, 3, 4 weeks or longer, and try to show some progress with it. So we started off with 5 rounds. Last week we did 6. This week we're doing 7. We'll keep going with this, maybe build up to 9 or 10 rounds, and then we'll drop back to 4 or 5, but we'll up the length of the rounds. So 30 seconds, try being in the drills we've done today. So backhand, front hook, getting off the line, coming back in. Front hook, backhand off the line and back in. Just our regular drills, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, hook and uppercut. Okay, all the different things we normally use. Okay, so we'll start in 5 seconds. Get our stance, ready, and let's go. And we rest. So when you're resting, as much as possible, try to breathe through your nose. Try to resist that urge to gasp for breath. Keep your body tall. Ten seconds. Ready? Round number 2. Let's go. And relax. Body tall, breathe in your nose. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And relax. Body tall. We're coming back in for the next round. We're trying to have our heart rate back as close to it was at the start as possible. Let's try to relax, slower breathing. Five seconds. Ready? Let's go. And relax. So we are over the hump. We're over the midway section. 3 rounds to go. Ten seconds. So I'm bringing the drills, the backhand, front hook, backhand. Let's go. Ready? Go. And relax. 2 rounds to go. If this was 2 weeks ago, you'd be done by now. With 2 rounds to go. That's only 15 minutes ago now, Paul. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And relax. 1 round to go. What did you say for the last round? We make it 45 seconds. Nobody's complaining. Okay, ready, guys? 5 seconds. You're 45 seconds away from water break. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Keep it going, guys. 20 seconds. 15 left. Last 5. And relax. Good. Keep the body tall. Breathe. I'm a bit suspicious that Paul and Brian, your comments came through to me while we were doing our punching, so I'm going to hope that there's a delay there. Now, guys, grab a quick sip of water. What we'll do then, we'll come back in and we'll get into some stretching. Okay, so guys, what we're going to do is we're going to finish up a couch stretch. So last week we worked on the frog. Okay, so if you missed that, go back, look at it. It's a good stretch to work on, okay, for around the inside of the legs, around the groin. Okay, getting the hips turn over, getting some internal and external rotation. Okay, what we're going to look at today is the couch stretch. So this is stretching the hip flexors here, okay, in the front of the leg. Couch stretch sounds quite a nice term if you don't know what it is, but by the end you'll know it's not so nice. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is go to a wall. If you have a mat, put it under your knee. Okay, I'm just going to use my glove so we can see, and maybe I'll try and move the laptop a little closer. This will allow. I hope I'm not upsetting the internet here. Okay, so you can see me. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off pretty much in a crawl position we had from the start. So your heels against the wall, 6-point position, knees, feet and hands on the ground. Step one knee onto your glove and your instep, this foot is going to be on the wall. So the top of your foot on the wall. What you'll do from there then is take this other leg up. And what you're really trying to do is bring this hip towards the ground. So this is going to feel sore, okay? Keep your mouth closed, breathe with your nose. Don't hold your breath. Just hold that position, okay? There's a difference between discomfort and pain. If you find an exercise painful, we recommend you don't do it. You get it checked out. When there's a chance to go to a physio again, you go and you get cleared by a physio or by your doctor, because it's not necessarily related to exercise. It could be a different problem there. So we can say, oh, it's probably something that's tight. We're not medical people. We can't give you that for definite. So you go and you get that checked out. If it's discomfortable, if it's sore, that's okay. That's a different thing, okay? So if you think on a scale of 1 to 10 of soreness, you want this to be like an 8, okay? So don't do 8 or 9, it'll be pretty tough, okay? So you're probably sitting here for a little while now, this is feeling easier, push that hip out, okay? Bring it back to that 8 or 9 on the soreness scale. To add a little bit, squeeze the glute on that side. So what happens when you squeeze the glute, the hip on the opposite side relaxes and allows you to push into more of a stretch. It doesn't get any easier, okay? Just allows you to create a little more of a stretch. Again, keep breathing. Always keep breathing, it's good advice, but don't hold your breath just because this is a little bit sore. Breathing with our nose. A little bit. And if that's okay for you, stay there. Okay, if you want to add a little bit more to it, you can come tall. Okay, take your hands onto this front leg. But when you're here, it's about pushing that hip out. It's not just about taking your hands off the ground. So you're here, push that hip out, breathe at your nose. Okay, so from this shoulder, that ankle, we're trying to make longer. So bring this shoulder to the ceiling, squeeze this glute still. If you think it's tough, imagine trying to talk while you're doing it. As I said last week, you'll thank us someday for all this, but today won't be that day. Okay, gently bring your hands to the ground and come out of that position. So when you're working this, what we recommend is 2 minutes in the first position, the hands down, and try, if you can't get that tall position, 2 minutes in that position as well. Okay, we'll switch, we'll go to the opposite side. So the bad news, as we always say, you have 2 legs. So to work the opposite side. So start off in that crawl position, ankles against the ground, step that knee in. So putting that knee right into the skirting board, instep on the wall, this foot up, and in this position, again, squeezing the glute, trying to bring this hip forward. So from this shoulder back to that knee, you're trying to make it as long as possible. A lot of people now are sitting more than normal, myself included. So I've lost all my hours of teaching during the week out of my weekly routine where I'll be standing all the time. So some of that time has been replaced by chasing a 2-year-old around. A lot of the other time has been replaced sitting. And when you're sitting, your hip flexors, muscles are stretching now, are constantly in a short position. Okay, so it's important that we get them working, we get them stretching. We're not supposed to sit as an animal, as a human. We're not supposed to sit down as much as we do. Okay, even people who are quite active and have active jobs, we sit quite a lot. Okay, the other side of that is that your glute is in an extended position the whole time. So the pelvic tilts we done earlier, lifting our hips, squeezing our glutes, some kettlebell swings, they're kind of the antidote to all that sitting. Push the hip out. So maybe when I was talking there, you forgot to stretch a little bit. Push the hip out, squeeze your glute, pulse a little bit into it if you want. And then from here, if you can, go tall. It's not a competition. If that's enough, if this is like a 7, 8, 9, 10 on the soreness scale, just stay there. Okay, work on this a different day. But try to get the body tall, push that hip out, and crushing this glute. And again, keep breathing. Thirty more seconds. And gently just come out of that position. Okay, and then just go back to our crawl that we had earlier. And just crawl a little bit, a couple of steps forwards, a couple of steps back. So we talked about pull-ups earlier and the pulling exercise, and said how it's something that's not included a lot of the time in our own training and in most training. That's usually the area that's neglected. And something else that's neglected is this sort of pattern, this crawling pattern, a lot of time when people are training. And something people struggle with. And the big reason is that people don't climb. Okay, a lot of us, like when we're kids, we climb trees. Kids these days don't climb trees as much. Okay, if you look at this, it's pretty much a climbing pattern. Your legs are pushing you forwards while your body's kind of pulling you forwards. Your hips, your shoulders are working together, and the connection between it is your midsection, or what people call the core. So kind of it's important to work on. A very simple thing you can work on at home. Okay, so I'll just move you guys back up so we can see you better. Okay, so guys, well done. Okay, as we say, that's our third YouTube session. So next week we'll mix it up a small bit. We'll keep the shadow box and we'll keep the couch stretch maybe, but we'll add a few new pieces in. Okay, it's different than our normal training, but I do think there's some things we can get here maybe that we don't get to focus on so much. We've got a lot of striking done the last couple of weeks. We'll keep up on that. So don't look at what we're missing out. I'm trying to look at it like what we can focus on that's a little bit different than normal. Okay. As well as this, Ken has put together some good technical videos. We put one up during the week. So some really good stuff for working a little bit of striking, and there's an excellent presentation going up on the stress response and the fight or flight response of the body to an attacker. So that'll be going up over the next couple of days. Brian has also put together the training plan for the nutrition program. So you've got your 3 workouts during the week. If you have a kettlebell, know how to use it, you can do that. And then we also have some bodyweight exercise. So what we might actually do with them is put them up for people who aren't doing the nutrition program. So if you want to get another couple of sessions in during the week, maybe we can look at including them in a regular members group. And then finally, just for the people in the nutrition group, on Saturday afternoon, we're going to do a Zoom call, and we're going to have a bit of questions and answer session. Okay, so rather than do it individually for the first time, we'll get everybody on together. Any questions you have, we'll have a bit of a chat, and you can let us know how you're getting on. So guys, that's it. Thank you. Okay, well done. I hope to see you back next week. Good night.